I was working at the grocery store, and I was sacking groceries, and I was carrying them out, because you do that in a small town. You carry the groceries out to the car. So I was carrying the groceries out, and this Hispanic lady, I had filled her groceries, and I just told her, I said, gracias, you're welcome. Told her, de nada, you're welcome. And she just said, are you a pastor, preacher? And and that happened 3 or 4 times from people at the store, that I was just carrying out their groceries on top of my teachers. And I finally said, okay, God, here's the thing. I'll be a preacher. I'll be a pastor. If you can provide, again, making a deal with God. If you can provide me the education that I need, the way to get through it, I will try my hardest to make it through. And, of course, we're talking to God here. He said, okay. Well, again, as you know, I was a foster child. I said, okay. So I started, doing better. I started meeting with 5 different pastors in the town. Okay, I need to get prepared for this. Well, this is like a journey that I'm preparing for. And as I got to college, they said, you need 30 years of preparation for 3 years of ministry. That's what Jesus did. And I went, wow. He had some great 3 years, but I can see a lot of other Christians that did really good too. But so I said, okay, I'll start preparing. And so but I prayed, because I wasn't getting A's. The only thing I was really good at was drama. I ran cross country, but I wasn't good enough to be on varsity. And so I was like, okay, God, how am I going to get scholarships? I don't understand. The only thing I'm good at is overcoming adversity. That's the one thing I'm really good at, God. How many of you want to guess? There's a scholarship for overcoming adversity. I'm not joking. So God again said, that's easy. I'm God. There's this organization called the Horatio Alger Organization. It's set up by millionaires who started as broken kids, such as myself, who worked hard and became millionaires. And what I found out was most of them were Christians, and most of them have a habit of giving more away than they make. And somehow they keep getting more money, but they keep giving away more than they make each year. And it's amazing to see that. So they picked 2 schools out of Kansas that they were going to select one of these students to become a Horatio Alger recipient. And so all I had to do was write an essay about the adversity that I'd overcome. And I was in a well-affluent part of in that county that it was affluent. There wasn't a whole lot of broken, poor. There were there, I'm not going to lie, but a lot of people were pretty well off because of all the oil and the farming and everything, all compiled on top of each other. And so I felt alone in that area, but I said, okay, I know most everyone in the town. There's only 2,000, so you're talking about kids. There's only 400 kids. There's only 63 kids in my graduating class. I've got an idea. I know who everyone else. I said, wow, I might actually do this. And so I wrote my essay, and I submitted it, and I won the essay. I won the scholarship. With the scholarship meant I had to fly to D.C. Okay, I come up to graduating, and I'm excited. I've enrolled in Mid-America to be a preacher because apparently to be a preacher you have to go to college. And I said, okay, God, I'll do this. So God said, okay, I'll help you. And so I enrolled on this journey, and I didn't have a suit. I didn't have a way to get there. I didn't have anything really set up. The Horatio Alger my foster father drove me down to Amarillo. We bought some decent suit pants and a suit shirt and a tie. So I went there with like one suit for the whole week, and I went up there with $38.43 in my pocket. Was all I went up there with for the whole week. And so I went up there, and God was faithful, and one of the people there found out that I didn't have but one suit. So they took me out, and they bought me clothes for the rest of the week. I attended all the functions like all the other kids. And my youth pastor at the time had moved back to Virginia. He wanted me there when his son was born. So so I had it set up to drive down there, and it was one of those fun situations. It's always an adventure with God. I said, okay, God, how's this going to work? And God said, I'll get you there. So I was like, okay, I was ready to spend my $38 on the train ticket to get down there. And they said, oh, we can't release you. You may be 18, but you're still in our custody. We have to release you to a person. It turns out that the director of the organization was actually driving down there. And so he gave me a ride. He had me share my testimony with him, my story, because it's not a testimony to them, it's a story to them. So I shared my story with him about how God is carrying me and had carried me through this. And by the time he took me down to my youth pastors, he was crying, and he emptied his wallet. He just gave me $75. And I was shocked, for one. But it turned out, it's like, oh, I don't need this. Okay, okay, I'll take it. And took it, and I had to change my plane because, surprisingly, babies aren't born when we tell them to. So it took an extra day, and they pleaded with me to change my flight, so I changed my flight, which cost how much? $75 exactly to change my flight over. I changed my flight. I made it home. I got back home, and I was just, wow, God, you're so faithful. Thank you for being an encouragement, God. This was such an encouragement to me. I think now that I've seen other people who have done this, I can make it. And so he was faithful. I had to, when I got home, I got a call from the auto mechanic because my car had died, and it was the starter, and I needed, he said, you need a new starter. It's going to be about $38 to replace it. And so I paid my $38. I replaced it, and I put my 43 cents in the offering plate that Sunday. I was like, God, this is it. You can have it. You have shown me beyond a shadow of a doubt that you care for me, and you take care of me. My foster father passed away that weekend when I graduated. It was very sad, but I know that he had lived life to the fullest, and he showed me how to live life to the fullest. And since then, that's what I've been doing, because God's grace is what's carried me. And God's grace is what carries you. And no matter how tough life gets, no matter how hard it gets, we know beyond a shadow of a doubt, because of our personal experience and others, that Jesus walks with us. The Comforter, His Holy Spirit, stays with us. He says, in Joshua 1:9, have I not commanded you, be strong and courageous. Do not be terrified. Do not be discouraged. For the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. Isn't that true? God is so faithful to us. He wants us to know that His grace, He wants to lavish onto us. He wants to dump it on top of us. And a thank you for nothing that we've done. But it's a grace, we are saved by grace through faith, because it's a relationship. It takes God's grace to put us in a place where we can be faithful. And we take up that call moment by moment, and we're faithful to God. And He will be our strength and lead us. Brother Zell, would you come up and pray?
Good.